Today we will be discussing the mods of Epic War which have very minor changes to them, yet made a huge impact on the community. Starting with the first ever mod made, Epic War 5's Hard Mode. Epic War 5 is considered by many to be the easiest game in the franchise. So what Night of Tigers did was shut that claim right up. He released a mod of the 5th game, which absolutely swarms the field with units, making the process of beating the trivial bosses at the end a strategic and rewarding process. The thing I like about this mod in particular was how Night of Tigers understood the downside of taking this approach of making Epic War 5 harder. You see, the more enemies you kill, the more EXP you will gain, which means you will get a fully upgraded team much quicker than normal. There are also 2 achievements which unlock the Golem for fully upgrading your hero, and the White Tiger for killing 5,000 enemies. 12,000 in this mod though. So surely with a better army, the mod would actually be easier. But you'd be dead wrong, as at the time of recording, no one was able to 100% the game, showing how one of the most straightforward entries just ended up being damn near impossible. But what if you do want to beat the game, just with a little more resistance? Enter Wyodine's Epic War 5 Rebalanced mod. The Rebalance mod reworked all the unit's stats, and also gave some of the weaker units special abilities so that the player has reasons to use them. For example, the Troll now has passive regen to complement its HP. The White Tiger has lost a bit of its health, but has also gained significant attack. And the list goes on and on. For the units who are considered too good, the player has to work a little bit harder to raise their units, since upgrades are more expensive compared to vanilla Epic War 5, meaning that your army is much weaker than it would usually be for the level you're on. Despite that, the gameplay never feels tedious. If anything, you would have to rely on your spells more this time around, since you can't just AFK and win, as some players think. This is why you start with 100 mana in the level, and the cap is now 200, double that compared to the original. Wyrodine left no stone unturned in the rebalancing of Epic War 5. He worked very hard to make the game harder by buffing units that have been overlooked for years, and nerfing units that the community considers staples for full game runs. He also made the use of spells so much easier, so now the player can get stuck in straight away, keeping Epic War 5 a fun, fast-paced game. But what about the mods that literally change one thing, and still cause a major impact on Epic War? Well, that is what the Crackhead mod of Epic War 4 is designed to do. Last year, Hugh Hefner released a mod in Epic War 4, where the only change was that you could equip a unit more than once. To give an example, on level 1 you would normally start with Vigruff the Red and Goblins. But in this mod, you can use Vigruff 3 times, and the Goblin 6 times, making for an out-of-body Epic War experience. Sure, this made the game easier, but the Crackhead mod also allowed you to use more of your favourite units. Ever wondered what it would be like to use 6 Titans? Well, now you can equip them, and enjoy the destruction of anything that comes your way. Assuming you survived a 3-minute onslaught, waiting for the Titans to arrive. Whilst Hugh Hefner's mod isn't the most difficult or thought-provoking, the Crackhead mod is literally free dopamine, as you can control some of the most powerful troops in the series in high numbers, completely obliterating any adversaries in your path. If you're looking for a more fresh yet familiar perspective of the game, maybe Epic War 3's Randomizer is for you. Epic War 3 is known for its variance, making it one of the most frustrating yet rewarding games to complete in the series. So what Last Melon did to amplify the randomness is to make a randomizer mod of Epic War 3, where you unlock a new unit every time you beat a level. This really tested the player's decision making, because if you got an amazing unit, how will you organize your money for unit upgrades? How will you equip your units so that you don't go over your hero's mana? On the other hand, how will the players adapt to getting a card which isn't very good? What will you do to guide your team against the Cave of Trials? What on earth does this button do? The Epic War 3 randomizer takes a feature that has been done many times before in other games, but brought it into the most thought-provoking and RNG-heavy games in the entire franchise, making for a very enjoyable experience. Speaking of Last Milan making an enjoyable experience, let's talk about Epic War 2's speedrunning mod. It has been known for a long time that the Elven race has the strongest roster of units in Epic War 2. Whether it's the Elf Protectors kicking the asses of anything on the way to the castle, or the swarm of Dryads dealing high damage to even the bulkiest of enemies. And of course, the Forest Guardian, who is a good matchup for the final bosses. There really isn't much of a debate as to who is the best to use in Epic War 2. The problem is that you unlock the elves after beating level 8, which can take up to half an hour even with speedrunner strats. Therefore, it's always faster to just use Mankind and to roll with it. That is, until Last Milan released a mod whereby you will unlock all 3 races: Mankind, Orcs and Elves. This not only made it more convenient to run the game fast, but also you could play the game as Orcs from the get-go, just for some light-hearted fun. Last Milan's speedrunning mod allowed us to make an entire route and strategy for Epic War 2, which led to Nightfall and I to beat the game in under 2.5 hours. And even if you wanted to play casually, you can play with whoever you want. But Last Milan's most impactful mod would be a project that he didn't even finish. In 2020, Last Milan started making a rebalance mod of Epic War 2, whereby he attempted to speed up the game due to the poor pacing issues of the second entry, and fix certain units as some literally don't work as intended. Also, the mod was going to rework a lot of the levels, as many people in the community consider Epic War 2 to be the hardest game in the series, but in all the wrong ways. These changes made the community very excited to play the mod. But in 2021, after early beta testing, the project was scrapped for one main reason. Why not just remake all of the games? You see, even if this mod went the distance, it would be done on Flash, and only people who were willing to download the .swf file would even give it the time of day. Besides, Last Milan already had some ideas on how he would direct the series. So why not just go for it? And so, here we are today, waiting excitedly for the remakes to finally be released on Steam, concluding how this minor mod made a big difference. But what about the mods that are so game-changing that the developers question whether or not they will ever be released?